Terry Sargent. I am a process leader that works for Rolls-Royce Motor Cars. I'm going to propose a new design and layout for the assembly area in the wood shop. So within this assembly area we have a number of workstations which assemble wooden components, so electrical components go into that. A sample of this could be a CD player, air conditioning controls, and chromes that go around the outside of apertures or so. So within the manufacturing situation, there are 6 workstations confined in the area, which comes into the area as it goes round inspection. So there's 6 workbenches as the components flow through. So at present, the operator picks up the components when needed and assembles them. The proposal for this is to work to a pull system. So once it goes through the inspection area, there's a tap-driven system. So for instance, at the start of the shift, the process supporter would say we need 10 cars put through this area. So the operator would have their list of cars they have to put through and then pull them through. So where we want to get this list is we want to use an interface of a barcoding system. So as the components come to the workstation, the operator will scan individual parts. So they will scan the wooden component, it will bring up the wooden component on the screen, and then they will scan the electrical components that are required to go into the car. So this manages stock that goes in from the 2-bin system as well, and it eliminates human error. We also have torque setting drills which enable the operator to not over tighten screws, so they're to the correct specification as well. So within the manufacturing situation, there's some ergonomic features and planning features as well. So the ergonomic features that we propose is also to have adjustable workstations to go up and down to suit the operator's need. Where we have the monitors, we have adjustable monitors to suit, so it can go 90 degrees and minus 90 degrees, whatever suits the operator at that time. So, and then we want to have designs on the workstations. So we want to have obviously adjustable workstations to avoid extra pressure on the employees. So we have footrests as well, so we enable chairs on there and standing to obviously rest the spine. Footrest built in, obviously to avoid muscular strains and cramps in the legs. As we discussed about the monitors, so VDRC for operators, so we want to have a consistent standard font on them to obviously eliminate eye strain, and we want to have standard lighting as well. Obviously we don't want to have too much lux in there, so obviously eye strain is quite bright. We just need to have it environment fit for purpose. So within the layout planning features, we have storage racks which are opposite the benches, so the operator can stick to one area and hasn't got a massive amount of movement. We want to eliminate the need to bend down to the lower levels as well. So we eliminate the bottom shelf, so we only contain up to, I think it's knee height or so that recommended bending height. We go into the continuous flow of car sets coming through the inspection, and we have obviously the takt times in place as well. So the economic features, we have the adjustable monitors, support screens, so this reduces the need for awkward postures as well by having the adjustable workstations. Ensuring that the employee is comfortable with the environment, so the temperature is a set control. Obviously dehydration if the temperature is too high, obviously affects production. High temperature and a low temperature obviously absences as well with sticks and coals. We use anti-fatigue matting along all workstations as well, just to reduce the need, obviously back pain, leg pain, foot pain for the mouth valves they're standing there. Obviously we've incorporated brakes into that time, but standard we found that we get the most production out of an operator anyway, because they haven't got that much movement to do. they're stationed in one area at a time. So within the layout of the bench, obviously we've got a circular layout, so each workstation is designed with a set tool. So all the stations are set with complete tool sets, so it gives set flexibility going through the process, so it isn't confined to one model of car that goes into there. So any model or car can flow into this area here, and depending on workload, it can go through any of the two, straight through there. So relevant data or information for the assembly process. So obviously we're using the barcoding system. It enables us to collect data or throughput going through each workstation at a time. Time studies completed. Obviously we can break that down into the 9 elements of the process. So for instance, we have obtaining the component. It takes 1 minute. That's just picking it up, finding it, scanning it and putting it back. So then we can use that obviously within the tax time to break it down and push through, see how much throughput we have going through the area. So techniques suitable for analysis for the assembly process, obviously you'll have work measurements. So as we started, we've done process observations to ensure that they're completing it to the right standards set in place. We can obviously receive feedback from the operator to see if they have any improvements within that. Obviously we want to work to the VPS principles that we put into place, that we want to work to the pool system, we want to have incorporate the employee, we want 0 defects in a one-piece flow. Obviously they're all lean manufacturing techniques and they all come into play within that assembly area. So when we was designing the layout planning, we used obviously spaghetti diagrams to determine the layout planning and the movement of the operator before we actually incorporated this, because we found that where we had the racking situated, there was just so much movement by the employees, they was moving around too much and there was an unnecessary movement. So that's where we decided to have the proposal of each operator or each bench having the electrical components behind them, so they haven't got that, reduced that movement. Computer programs, obviously we use the scanning system that produces graphs on a daily basis, so we can feed back to the employees at the end of each shift and at the start of each shift about defects that have been highlighted within the area, because the associates actually highlight the defect. If they do have a problem, they can just hit the button on the touch screen and it comes up that have a problem in that area. So each defect is monitored and obviously we can feed that back to them and put improvements in place. So from our point of view, the criteria for a good layout, obviously we want to minimise the material handling of components, which we think we have done by situating the shelving behind the workstations. We want a continuous flow, which is driven by the tax, just going through the inspection. If we have to launch 10 or 1 model today, we know exactly how many tax we have to do inside that. And if we need to incorporate more associates into that area because we're struggling or we've hit a defect, we can. Obviously, work in process industry, we use, where we have the shelving stored with the components, electrical components, we just have a 2-bin system in there. So once that first bin's been used, next bin goes into place. The scanner system, obviously you scan that barcode and it automatically calls for the next load. We have obviously the quality, which we can use by the barcoding system. And we have a visual management where each of the car sets that come into the area, we have different components that go into there and what we have to produce for the day. So obviously the proposal is that we introduce this into the area because the area is relatively new, and we can obviously have time studies to see if we've made an improvement or not. If there are improvements there, we will continue on and just in continuing to improve the area. But obviously with the different mix of models coming through the area, we've kind of established that we have that flexibility to put a number of different models through one area at a time instead of just allocating single models to different workbenches.
So, sorry, and you're just tell me back to what improvements you're offering for the.
So the improvements, if we was going forward, we would have from where the process flow currently goes. We would think about eliminating these rackings. We would just use a conveyor belt to push exactly what they need behind each station. Right. So under that conveyor belt would say we would have the electrical components, and then on top of that, what complete car sets would just flow into that area. So they'll know exactly what workload they have in front of them. It would eliminate the need for the process supporters to identify what they need. So the workload would just be there for them to use.
And do you know if that's something that has been requested by the associates at the moment, or is it something that
I think it's been generated by the overall space that we have in the area. It's a confined area. We have a lot of trolleys in this area here, and to eliminate that, if we can just have 2 lines of conveyor belts that push the car sets into that area, it will eliminate all the space that we need.
Okay. You spoke about some health and safety aspects, but maybe not the role of health and safety in all of this. How is...
Also, the role of health and safety plays into play with the ergonomics and the posture of how the operators actually use the machinery and the workstations. So if there's a lot of bending down very low, obviously we're going to have issues with back. If we eliminate that risk altogether, we've eliminated that risk.
Okay. What happens when you change the vehicle that is coming through?
So because if we introduce the vehicle doesn't matter, because it will all go through one area, because we do different models at present. So once it comes through the inspection, it will just flow into each one of these areas, and all the workstations are complete to manufacture any model required. So that gives it the flexibility within the area.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I don't think of any